this interview because it will take up the majority of this section. And I want to remind you that the recording is not like what you're hearing now. You're going to hear a distinct difference in the quality of the recording, but it's not the recording that's important. It's the message. Thank you so much for your attention in this. I'm at the Liberty Fest here in Illinois, and my special guest is Vladimir Sliva. Tell us where you came from. Where were you born?
I was born in it was Czechoslovakia, now it's Czech Republic. And it was right after Stalinist era, which was the worst socialist time there. And then I was born in Brno, which is like capital of the eastern part of Czech Republic. And then my parents and I moved to Prague, which is the capital of Czech Republic, when I was about 5. And then I became kind of born again Christian, even though I was a cradle Catholic. And that was when I was at the university. I became involved in underground activities of our church.
Why did you have to have underground church?
Well, it was, I am a Catholic, right? So Catholic, you could go to Catholic Mass in many places. So that was basically not underground now. But when you talk about various activities, like being prepared for like the First Communion or marriage, or any kind of catechism, that was basically illegal on my age group for sure. And so that's where you cross the line basically. Also, if you get together with young people and you pray and sing Christian songs and things of that nature, that's basically illegal, because that prohibits government to govern and monitor religion. Okay?
Right.
There were laws against that.
What year was this?
Early 1980s, basically.
Okay, and when did you come to America?
We left the country, spent 8 months in a refugee camp in Europe, and came to America in 1983 with my wife.
And what did you think when you got here?
Well, I was amazed.
Yeah?
Yeah, everything, Reagan, and, he was saying the right things, about communism. And that was something very cool, right?
Right.
And, of course, we were amazed that the country is being kind of ruled using common sense, so something I didn't grow up with. And, even though that had been a history, Czechoslovakia, we had a good country before communism, prosperous country till 1948 coup. But anyway, but again, that was before I was born. So, America was very surprising and, very positive. So I lived for like quarter of a century just, studying, working, not having much time, having 8 kids, not having much time to monitor what's going on.
And so what have you seen happening to America today?
Well, since 2008, I've been, I could not hear what sounded like socialism coming here, basically, if I say it very succinctly. And so that was very, I don't want to say frightening, but, unexpected, because, Soviet Union and all these satellites, they dropped the communism, right? And so I did get alarmed, and I tried to become active a little bit. And so, for example, I created a video which documents what I was observing and comparing, the leftist tendencies here in the US and what I experienced in Czechoslovakia. And I put it on YouTube video just before 2012 elections. Basically, since then, I've been pretty active trying to tell people, don't do this.
Right.
Especially what really makes me kind of, I don't want to use the word angry, but,
Oh, you can be angry. That's fine. I'm angry too.
What makes me kind of, let's say active, is when I see people who claim to be Christians, and they may even go to church every week, they vote for this evil, right? And for what ended up to be a persecution of Christians, not only in this country, but also our executive branch doing in other countries. I did foresee that happening. So, and it's very frustrating that, I'm not eloquent enough to communicate that to people.
How did you foresee it coming?
I'm holding this book, Takedown by Paul Kengor. It also has a subtitle, From Communists to Progressives, How the Left Has Sabotaged Family and Marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that's where it starts. The communists, when they take over, they attack religion and family every time. They may be more flexible in how fast they get your possessions. But, this one is kind of common denominator, which you see in all these socialist countries when they were losing their freedom.
So would it be safe to say that you are simply recognizing in America the very things you fled from in Czechoslovakia?
Right.
So what you say you're very active now. Tell us what you do to be active.
Well, I try to create those videos for YouTube. From the other things I do, well, there is a lot of passive things, like we don't watch TV at home, and our children don't either, because we just don't have TV. And we do watch videos, but the ones we select carefully, but we don't have TV channels at home.
Right, we don't either.
So that's kind of passive thing.
Right.
But, well, there are some outwardly, like we go on overpass.
Uh-huh.
We try to inform people in the few words we can,
So you hold signs on the overpasses?
Basically,
yeah,
yes.
That's awesome.
And as I said, my wife prepares pretty often. She has been speaking in those school board meetings, and she even ran for office. Pretty amazingly, she got 3,435 votes, which I mentioned here.
Yeah.
That was pretty nice. It wasn't enough this time to get that unpaid office, but people noticed.
Right.
So
right. She run again then?
Right, and she participated in all the public debates and gave all the interviews. And,
well, that is great.
Yes.
So, tell me, what is the most concerning thing to you right now in America? If there was one thing that just makes you feel very passionate and makes your blood pressure rise, what would that be?
As I said, I'm a Catholic, and what really stirred me to get me active in the first place was the HHS mandate and things of that nature. So I am really passionate about not wanting to pay taxes for killing of the babies here, because I feel responsible. If I pay for it, then it's my problem. It's
right.
It's basically I'm being forced to support it.
Right. Right.
And that's really what bothers me the most. But again, there are so many things, like you have which are springing up, like the Common Core my wife was fighting against when she was trying to get on the school board. Even how they attack our military, they retire or fire the generals. They want to standardize police force, so to speak, federally. That's absolutely unacceptable. And I know exactly what they are doing and where it's going.
That's right.
I've lived in your future, basically, unfortunately.
Wow, that is the scariest thing anybody has said to me. That is horrible. I'm trying to hold back the tears, just comprehending that you lived our future.
Right. So
but you're fighting now to make sure that future doesn't come to fruition.
Or if it does, then it's not my. There is zero cooperation on my part, and there is the maximum resistance on my part.
Right. Right.
Because my children will have to live in basically. Well, some people may think I am exaggerating, but the way I view it is, I came to free country, and now they were born here, and I owe it to them to preserve that freedom. And when I still lived in Czechoslovakia, I was thinking, my grandfathers did not live, they died before I was born. I was thinking about that generation, even though there was a coup in 1948, and, it was definitely not easy way to avoid what happened. I always was thinking, well, how come they had such a great country, free, Czechoslovakia, and prosperous? And why would I be born into this mess?
Yeah,
it's not right.
Right, right.
So what did they mess up? And is it their fault?
Right.
What could they have done better? And now I find myself in the same frustrating situation. I even know where it's going. So that just doesn't. I cannot sit at home and do absolutely. or if I sit, I'd better be fighting still,
Right.
whatever I'm doing. That's where I feel the responsibility.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and your words are very inspiring. Your activity is very inspiring, so don't quit, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. We'll be praying for you.
Thank you for what you are doing.
Oh, thank
I
you.
wish I had your eloquence
Oh.
to say whatever I'm saying.
Well, but you have a lot of power in what you say, and so I think it's more eloquent than you give yourself credit for.
Well, I do my best, so pray for me.
I will pray for you. God bless. Did you hear the passion with which he wanted to defend the liberty of his newfound country? Did you hear the motivation? I lived this. You know, one of the most powerful segments in this interview is him describing growing up in Czechoslovakia, hearing the stories from his family about what a great place Czechoslovakia used to be before the coup. Something he never experienced. He only got to experience the bad part of Czechoslovakia. And then he comes to America in awe with the common sense, the candor, and the liberty that we have, only to watch it degrade right before his eyes. And he thinks then about his children, remembering his experience. My children are now growing up in this. How will they look back on me? I looked back on my parents and thinking, why did I deserve to live in this? Why couldn't I live in the good Czechoslovakia? What could you have done to prevent this from happening to me so I didn't have to live in this place, persecuted in religion and beliefs in my own country? And then he says, I can't do that to my children. I can't let them grow up wondering and blaming me. And I can't vote for this stuff and be held responsible. I can't have this on my conscience. America, this is our wake-up call. This is our wake-up call. It's our legacy at stake. It's our future, our children's liberty at stake.